Two teams yet to suffer defeat this season go head-to-head as we kick off Matchday 3 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Fresh from picking up their first win of the season, hosts Freiburg are looking to complete a Friday night double on home soil against a Hamburg side not to be underestimated. The newly promoted outfit already have more points to their name than relegated Turbine Potsdam secured over the entirety of last season. But can they continue to dodge their first defeat here at the Dreisam Stadion? I'm James Thorogood on the mic and delighted to welcome you to the Matchday 3 curtain raiser. Tonight marking the start of a feast of football in the top flight of German women's football. 2 sets of 7 fixtures in the space of 7 days. That's 14 matches from Friday to Thursday. 7 days straight of Frauen Bundesliga action. And we're kicking things off with a clash of South against North. Freiburg against our southern hosts, sat in the heart of the Black Forest, famed for its Bächle, which is the name given to the little canals that run through the old town, fed by the river Dreisam, from which tonight's stadium gets its name. And the toy boats used in those sidewalk canals are somewhat smaller than the ships that reside in the port city of Hamburg. Top flight women's football has returned to the northern metropolis, and after a 13-year absence, Hamburg have caught the eye, drawing both of their first 2 fixtures against Wolfsburg and Essen respectively. Freiburg, meanwhile, were held to a draw by Bremen on the opening weekend, but a Svenja Fumli goal secured all 3 points here at the Dreisam Stadion, this time last week against Köln. A win would be enough to go top of the table for Freiburg, but can they do the Friday night double? Cracking atmosphere in the tunnel, and I'm sure there'll be a cracking atmosphere in the stadium as well, as there was last Friday night against Köln. Edmund Kaplani, the new Freiburg head coach, saying it was a super atmosphere and it gave his side an extra push in several situations. They will be hoping that the home support can do the same again tonight. The Raute, the diamond of Hamburg. The flag flying high here at the Dreisam Stadion. A couple of travelling supporters in tow as well. It promises to be another spectacular Friday night in the Frauen Bundesliga. We are now minutes away from kickoff. It's Black Forest against Port City, Freiburg against Hamburg. A vibrant and vociferous support, I'm sure, tonight. Freiburg, a side firmly established in Germany's top flight, taking on the newly promoted Hamburg. For now, team sheets are in. I can tell you that Freiburg have made 3 changes to the side that beat Köln. The defensive departments remain unchanged, while in midfield, Lisa Kolb and Nicole Ojukwu are preferred to Elena Bienz and Selina Vorbian. The final change sees last week's match winner, Svenja Fumli, drop out of the matchday squad entirely to be replaced by Tessa Blumenberg. The Swiss striker has picked up an ankle injury, according to Freiburg's social media accounts. Switch of ends. Our referee this evening, Fabienne Michel, backed up by Anna Ursfeld and Dr. Isabel Steinke. Sina Gieringer, our 4th official, on the sidelines here at the Dreisam Stadion. As for the Hamburg lineup, it sees head coach Lies Brancau make 2 changes to the side that started the goalless draw with Essen. The first is forced after it was confirmed that goalkeeper Laura Sieger, signed from St. Pölten in the summer, did indeed suffer the 3rd knee ligament tear of her career. She's replaced by Inga Schult, who kept 12 clean sheets in 22 appearances during Hamburg's promotion push. Last season's top goalscorer Christine Meyer is the beneficiary of the other change, as she replaces Lotte Vrede, with a 17-year-old settling for a place on the bench. Well, the sun is setting, but the fun is just about to get started here in Freiburg. The Black Forest providing a wonderful backdrop. The Dreisamstadion, always an atmospheric and charming ground. It used to be home to the men's team. It's got a funny fact about it as well. It actually slopes 1 meter down to the north, meaning a little extra running depending on which way these teams are playing. For now, both sides raring to get the action underway. A clash of 2 unbeaten sides in the new season. Black Forest against Port City, Freiburg against Hamburg. A north-south showdown at the Dreisamstadion. A brilliant way to kick off Matchday 3 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. The question being, will both sides still boast unbeaten records come the end of the 90 minutes? James Thorogood, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company. As Friday nights go, this is one that Hamburg would have been looking forward to, the trip south down to Freiburg, one of the more picturesque corners that Germany has to offer. And after their confident start to the season, they would have been relishing the chance to once again test their mettle against a firmly established side in the Frauen Bundesliga. This is game 2 of 4 on a road trip for Hamburg that also includes a DFB Pokal der Frauen tie against 1. FC Magdeburg. Started with the 0-0 draw in Essen. A game in which Essen did hit the bar, though Hamburg had chances of their own. The big blemish from that game, the injury to goalkeeper Laura Sieger, who was forced off in the first half, and fears were confirmed during the week that she had indeed suffered what is the 3rd knee ligament tear of her career. Wishing her a speedy and successful recovery. A bitter blow to Hamburg at the start of the season. The Port City side back in the Frauen Bundesliga big time for the first time in 13 years. Their first game back, that incredible 3-3 draw against Wolfsburg on the opening weekend. A game in which they were 3-1 down. Drama until the last, when a Svea Stolt free kick somehow made its way all the way through and across the line, despite Stina Johannes' best efforts. High drama, securing a precious points on Matchday 1. Hamburg, with 2 points to their name already, have more points than Turbine Potsdam amassed in the entirety of the previous campaign, as they were the only side relegated ahead of the expansion to 14 teams in Germany's top flight. Hamburg, one of 3 promoted sides, along with Nuremberg and Union Berlin. They finished 3rd in the 2nd tier last season. So they were the big beneficiaries of the 14-team expansion. 3 up, 1 down. Hamburg have already proven in a short space of time that they are not here to just make up the numbers. They are here to play their part and make their mark. And Freiburg will have watched the opening 2 games against Wolfsburg and Essen. Plenty of warnings for tonight's hosts to heed. There is Lies Brankow, the woman brought in from St. Pölten. A glittering record there, 7 league wins, 7 cup wins, to go along with 3 appearances in the Women's Champions League. Her remit with Hamburg is of stark contrast, it has to be said. She has admitted that she's a head coach that wants to fight for titles, but she said it was also important for her to gain a very different perspective with a club like Hamburg. Because even with a bright start behind them, I don't think anyone is shying away from the fact that Hamburg are likely to be heavily involved in the relegation battle. Right now it looked like Tessa Blumenberg took the ball to the throat there, but she's back up on her feet. Merit Felder now driving forward for Freiburg. Lisa Karl out wide, sold short by the pass. And as a result, Freiburg advances stopped in their tracks. Nicole Ojukwu picking up the ball in midfield, the Austrian international. One of the 3 changes in the Freiburg lineup tonight, along with Helena Bienz and Selina Vorbian. Svenja Firmly dropping out injured. Lisa Kolb, Ojukwu and Tessa Blumenberg slotting in their place. Firmly picking up an ankle injury, the match winner from last weekend. It was this time last week on Friday night. She struck in the 70th minute of a 1-0 win against Köln, the only goal of the game. Edmond Kaplani, the Freiburg head coach, admitting that his side were slightly fortunate to take all 3 points in that game, but said that they knew it was going to be hard work, and he praised them for the shift they put in. And a similar shift, truth be told, will be needed tonight. There he is, the 43-year-old Albanian. The man who holds the record in the men's second tier here in Germany for most goals scored by a foreigner. 99 in total, just short of hitting triple digits. When it came to his work as a head coach, he said he was excited to work with an ambitious side that has a lot of potential, but he himself is rather unproven on hot seats. His last job with Karlsruhe's under-17 team. He was last in a job back in 2022, though. A couple of years away from the game, and now the door opened with Freiburg. A ball into the box for Freiburg, but there's no one there to meet it. Cheekily through the legs of La. Karl. Ojukwu now with the nutmeg. Oh, and another on Felder. They're racking them up now, the Freiburg and Hamburg players. One of the great joys of a game of football, the nutmeg, one that doesn't show up on a statistic sheet or really gain you anything but a bit of ego. Lisa Karl, the captain. Player who so often leads by example. 9 years on the books with Freiburg. She gets it. She knows what this club are all about. The community feel, the family feel, the ability to exceed expectations. Look at the football there from the home side. Really dealt well with the pressure to maintain possession. Now can they turn it into something? Teasing ball forward, not dealt with by Luca Birkholz, and as a result it comes to nothing. But Freiburg are a team that are all about the collective effort, being greater than the sum of their parts. Last season they finished in 5th place, 38 points, 11 wins. Their best return in the Frauen Bundesliga since the 2017-18 campaign. Here on home soil they didn't have the best of times. 6 wins from a possible 11. They'll want to improve on that in the current campaign, but 1 win from 1 so far against Köln. Now Luca Birkholz trying to bully her way through, helped by Lisa Karl, who then gets nudged to the ground, but not enough for a free kick there in the eyes of Fabienne Michel. Hamburg will seek their chances in transition if afforded the opportunities, but there the door shut well by those in red and white. Looks like Julia Stili picked up a knock in the warm-up, maybe took a ball to the nose, hence the bloody nose. Machtens was all over Nachtigall there. Free kick taken quickly. Tessa Blumenberg, neat turn. Now finding Merit Felder. Ball out wide, lacked pace, but delivered into the danger area. Oh, now Brunthaler able to turn. The counter is on if she can keep her feet, which she does. Near Cenk for company. Support arriving for those in blue, but Brunthaler gets it back. Lene Egert can't get the ball into the box. Wants it back though and gets it. Cuts back Lene Egert. Deflection on the cross and behind for a corner. First of the game for either side. And it goes the way of the visitors. That is what the game plan for Liège Brancal's side is all about. Absorb pressure. They know they're not going to have the majority of possession in pretty much every game they play in the Frauen Bundesliga. It's more about being clinical when they do have the ball, getting forward quickly, finding those vertical passes, letting Brunthaler and Hillebrand be the outlets, and then seeing what can happen. Maybe set-piece situations can prove a valuable avenue to goal as well. That 6-yard box around Laura Benkart is very congested. Delivery too low though and cleared by Cenk. The visitors trying to keep themselves on the front foot here. Hefty clash there between Felder and Brunthaler. Brunthaler really just running into the back of Felder. Bit of a clumsy challenge there. Merit Felder tonight making her 99th appearance in all competitions for Freiburg, so 1 away from the milestone mark of 100. She'd have hit it already, but she had to take time away from the sport due to the birth of her first child. She returned November of last year, signed an extension to her contract in June of this year, said that there are still plenty of mutual targets that she's looking to hit in her Freiburg career. She's been on the books for 6 years now in Breisgau. Here come Freiburg. Oh, teasy delivery, and Luca Birkholz just beaten to it at the near post. Freiburg get a corner for their efforts. We are still waiting on the first goal of the game though, or the first shot of the game. Maybe now the hosts with a chance from the dead ball situation, even though it probably shouldn't have been a Freiburg corner because it looked like Birkholz got the final touch. Oh, and in fairness, it has been given as a goal kick, so I was getting ahead of myself. For Freiburg, this game has a very different feel to the one they had last Friday against Köln. The Cathedral City side really took the fight to them in the opening exchanges, and arguably they had the better of the game in the first half, Köln. Freiburg starting to turn the screw here, but Inga Schultz with her first piece of action, not making a save, just plucking the cross out of the air. Lisa Kolb getting the ball into the mix. Inga Schultz wouldn't have wanted an injury to be her way into the Hamburg team, but that's how it has panned out. Lara Ziege tearing knee ligaments in the 0-0 draw with Essen. Meritfeld, a heavy touch, invited the 50-50 challenge, but came away with it, and then Nachtigall with a lovely nutmeg to break the press. Now what can she do? What can Freiburg do? There's another nutmeg, but she sold her teammate short, and looked like a handball against Niachenk. Play goes on though. Nachtigall wants it back instead. Kolb takes charge. Two in the middle to cross for Tessa Blumenberg is underneath it, but can't get her head on the ball. Lisa Karl. Karl finding Nachtigall. Felder on the move. Felder into space. Felder! Sees her shot blocked. Brunthaler bundled over. 13 goals in 38 appearances in all competitions for St. Pölten. Last season, Melanie Brunthaler. Already opened her Hamburg account in that 3-3 draw against Wolfsburg, arguably the goal of the opening weekend, a stunning effort from just outside the area that made it 3-2. Gave Hamburg the lifeline they needed to push on and steal a share of the spoils from their mighty counterparts. The Frauen Bundesliga record title holders Wolfsburg pegged back on the opening weekend by a newly promoted side. That was quite a story. Cheeky reverse pass into offside about it. Blumenberg again, the target for the cross this time. Schultz plucking it out of the air. 12 clean sheets in 22 appearances for Hamburg last season during their promotion push. Inga Schultz, so while it's a shame to see Lara Ziege injured the way she's been injured, it's also nice to see Inga Schultz, who played such a big part in getting Hamburg to the Frauen Bundesliga, to then be rewarded with appearances in the top flight as well. She's talked about believing in the project and thinks it can still take a very exciting turn. Blumenberg, that's an exciting turn from Tessa Blumenberg. Taken out, but Bierkoltz picks up the pieces. Felder, there's space out wide, cheeky dummy. Cenk taking on Leni Egert. Freiburg, certainly the more positive of the two performances so far. What is it with the nutmegs tonight? Everyone's trying them. Ball breaks nicely for Christine Meyer, taking on Julia Stierli. Hamburg's top goal scorer last season with 8. It's a good ball into Bruntaler. Hillebrand. It almost opened up, but not quite. And then the pass was into a congested area. Picked off by Freiburg. And then a foul on Blumenberg. A big tug of the shirt by Nina Reker. Penalised by Fabienne Michel.
Or 20 minutes played at the Dreisam Stadion. Hamburg have really set their stall. Freiburg are chipping away. Cross comes all the way through to Inga Schultz. Right now, Freiburg are trying to find solutions to the problems being posed by the visitors, who are trying to shut up shop for the most part and stay disciplined at the back. And to their credit, so far so good. They are a team that are very firmly underlined that they are not to be underestimated in the early stages of this season, and Felder's given it away to Meyer. Won the ball high at the pitch. Meyer clattered into in the 50-50 by Greta Stegemann. Didn't feel like she really won the ball cleanly there, the Freiburg centre-back, but Meyer picked herself up. First start of the season for Christine Meyer, the Hamburg native, coming in for fellow Hamburg native Lotte Vrede, the 17-year-old who had caught the eye over the first 2 games of the season. Laura Benkart, Freiburg goalkeeper, back on the Freiburg books. She left after 10 years on the youth books to join Bayern back in 2018. Spent a stint with Lyon as well, picking up titles along the way. She said she was delighted to be back with her Herzensverein, the club of her heart. And of course, times have changed significantly. And the debut that Benkart made last weekend at the Dreisam Stadion here in Freiburg was a special moment for her at 32 years of age, to see the fact that women's football was being taken a lot more seriously than it was when she left the club. Got a clean sheet as well, and we'll be looking to make it 2 from 2. Right now, just 1 shot generated in a competitive opening that's had very little daylight between the 2 teams. Maybe now, Lisa Karl! Lisa Karl! Ah, she scored a stunner on Matchday 1 against Werder Bremen. And that's a peachy effort as well to break the deadlock here at the Dreisam Stadion. But Inga Schultz, the Hamburg goalkeeper, really should keep this one out. It takes a deflection and it loops over Schultz as a result. Got a hand to the ball, but not enough to keep it out. And Freiburg lead on home soil. Lisa Karl with her 2nd of the season. The Freiburg captain continues to deliver. She'd only scored 10 goals in 183 appearances for Freiburg before the start of this season. That's now 2 goals in 3 games to kick off the 25-26 campaign. What a turnaround for Lisa Karl. 13 years on the Freiburg books for the captain. Now some defending to do for the goal scorer up against Jobina La. Hamburg looking for a quick riposte. Helping hand there from the poor clearance and fizzed in, but wide. Paulina Machtens, the Hamburg captain, looking to respond in kind. Oh, Nicole Ojukwu, that botched clearance from Meretfelder that smacked her right in the face has left its mark. Here you get to take a look at it. As a result, has to be tended to, the young Austrian midfielder. Born in Vienna, 19 years old. First start of the new season. Another test now of Hamburg's resolve. They will have been well aware that over the course of their return to the Frauen Bundesliga that there would be setbacks along the way. They have already shown the character that they have in this squad. With that 3-3 draw on Matchday 1 against Wolfsburg. Tessa Blumenberg making a nuisance of herself. Trying to make the turn. Unable to do so. One back by Felder. Poor pass though by Felder. Machtens. Ooh, that looked like a fair challenge from Niachenk, but not in the eyes of Fabiana Michel. Came from behind a touch too much, even though it did look like she got the ball. You know what? You can understand why the referee's blown a whistle there, but you'd almost like to see Cenk rewarded there for taking the risk and almost rewarding herself. Almost a slip there from the Hamburg physio, but this is now concerning for the visitors, because having lost Laura Ziege to injury in the first half of their 0-0 draw against Essen, her replacement, Inga Schult, now has an ice pack on the ankle but a thumbs up from the physio. For Edmond Kaplani and Lies Brancau, a chance to issue a few instructions. We pass on some of the things they've seen in the opening 27 minutes. It's one of those, she might get the thumbs up from the physio and Schult might say she wants to continue, but if she can't push off of that foot the way that she needs to in order to make certain saves, then Freiburg might have it easier than expected in finding the back of the net if they can find their shooting boots. But right now, goal-scoring chances have been few and far between. 2 shots for Freiburg, 1 scored by Lisa Karl, both charged down, 1 blocked, 1 deflected. We've had an effort on goal now from Hamburg as well, but clear-cut chances have not been forthcoming. And Lisa Karl's goal was arguably all of her own making. Karl looks to pierce lines. The pass in behind. Picked off by the Hamburg backline. Bruntaler, the improvised flick of the heel that comes to nothing. Hamburg certainly need more extended spells of possession if they really want to affect the play in their favour. The battling qualities are there to be seen. They're getting stuck into the challenges. But at the same time, as we hit the half-hour mark, Freiburg good value for their 1-0 lead because the amount of control they've had on the game so far has been very impressive and deserves to be credited. But by the same account, Hamburg now need to do much more to disrupt it. They're standing a little too far off the Freiburg players at all times as another ball's whipped in from the right wing. So far, Niachenk's deliveries yet to really find their mark. Now the invitation to come forward, Jobina La. It's a nice ball in for Maya, but she loses out in the 50-50. Wins it back there against Ojukwu. Freiburg have done well to break the press there from Hamburg. But again, they take the pace out of proceedings, opting for control as opposed to looking for a more clinical touch going forward. One of the things that Freiburg's new head coach Edmond Kaplani has talked about, getting the ball into the danger area a little bit quicker. Nice flick on. Oh, Lisa Kolb. Nice idea to shield the ball, but actually needed to try and get a foot on it as well. Fabiana Michel does well to dodge the pass. Now Lisa Karl. Felder back to Ojukwu. It's a lovely ball out wide. Cenk does well, that's a foul, but play goes on. Advantage for Blumenberg. If anything, they might want the free kick, Freiburg. Blumenberg continues for now. And the ball's going to be put out of play, but it's almost a shame for Freiburg because they don't get the free kick in a promising position here. Instead, Cenk did well to get the pass off here. The touch was a touch heavy and then got the nutmeg, and then the knee-to-knee clash with Leni Egert. Certainly not a pleasant experience. Leni Egert, 17 years old, another of the Hamburg natives in Liège Brancau's ranks. Talked about being incredibly proud that her first contract was with the club of her home. Edmond Kaplani there, the Freiburg head coach, talked about the atmosphere against Köln last Friday being super. Said his side would need the same level of commitment and energy here tonight, and I think it's fair to say so far so good on that front. Freiburg giving a very strong account of themselves, not shying away from the combative approach from Hamburg, and you can see here, look at this compilation of challenges. It's been a full-blooded fixture so far. Neither side giving an inch. That wasn't easy for Ojukwu to deal with, but did remarkably well. Unfortunately, the move breaks down. This is a chance to take a look at the match statistics so far. Just over 10 minutes remaining in this hard-fought first half, and it does show there, but the tackles one department 50-50. That will greatly please Hamburg, because they'll be well aware in games like this, they're going to have less possession, they're going to complete less passes, because ultimately they're going to play less passes and they're going to play riskier passes. But as long as the commitment, the endeavour is there, as long as they're making life difficult for their opponents, Liège Brancal will be pleased. Those are the types of qualities that will serve them so well in what likely will be a relegation battle. We can't read too much into the opening two fixtures, but if you were just to analyse that 180 minutes alone for the teams that are likely to be involved in battling the drop, then you've got to say Hamburg look better than Köln, they look better than Carl Zeiss Jena. Maybe even argue they look better than a team like SKS Essen as well, but that's stretching it a touch. Nürnberg haven't fared that well. Union Berlin have made big changes, big moves on the transfer market, the types of transfers that Hamburg and Nürnberg could only dream of making. Right now, none of the three newly promoted sides off the mark with a win, but they are off the mark in terms of points. Freiburg now with a chance in the corner, Ojukwu to take. It goes low and Lisa Karl's the target, but it doesn't get there. Niachenk now with the long-range effort that was always going wide. Jobina La sees the space ahead. She's got Nachtigall for company. Well played by Nachtigall. Now Liège Brancal there, the Brazilian head coach. The fun fact lost on no one that she was born in a place called Novo Hamburgo in Brazil, and now she is the Hamburg head coach. Something tells me that's the type of fun fact that you'll hear plenty of times throughout the season when she pops up on your screen. Still worth sharing though. She's talked about the fact that she believes that Hamburg can surprise every opponent. That point was proven against Wolfsburg. And the fact is, Hamburg's fate will not be determined in games on the road in Freiburg, on the road in Essen, or even at home to Wolfsburg. But the fact they picked up 2 points from their opening two games really is a foundation that they can work with. A lot of people wondering how many points are going to be needed following their 14-team expansion in the Frauen Bundesliga to stay up, to avoid the drop. Can't read into last season at all, because of course we only had one team relegated, and that was Turbine Potsdam. They only picked up 1 point all season. Yes, you heard that correctly. The season before that, Duisburg picked up 4, Nürnberg picked up 15, so 16 would have been enough to stay up. That's a nice flick on, and Ojukwu has Freiburg on the march. Ojukwu goes for goal herself. Birkholt's follow-up effort doesn't quite play out that way, and Ojukwu with a wonderful shot, but truth be told, she should have been playing the pass right. She went for a good chance when she had a golden opportunity at her disposal. Freiburg looking for a second goal before half-time. Wonder whether Kaplani just pointing to that right wing saying that's where the pass had to go. If I'm not mistaken, it was Lisa Kolb who had made the run into space and no one had followed it. Now Tessa Blumenberg. Tessa Blumenberg making a nuisance of herself. Nachtigall doesn't connect cleanly on the volley. Brunthaler can't bring the ball under her spell. Bierkoltz lines one up, and Schultz was well off her line. But Bierkoltz scuffing the effort. Still looking for her first goal as a Freiburg player, but there's a lot to like about what she brings to the table. Christine Meyer now with a rare sight of goal for Hamburg. 8 goals last season to finish as the club's top goal scorer. Sweetly struck, but always off target. There's the moment, if you saw the pass that was on for Ojukwu to her right, the run that was made by Bierkoltz to drag the defenders and open up the space for Lisa Kolb. She'd have had time to take a touch, set herself before looking for the second goal. Instead, Ojukwu stung the palms of Schultz, but there was more on offer there for Freiburg. Blumenberg turns the corner again, but can't thread the needle. Such a bright player. Now another nutmeg. I have lost count, truth be told, of how many nutmegs we've seen in this first half. Let's just say numerous. Brought down well there by Christine Meyer under pressure. A couple of blue shirts in the box. Brunthaler. That's a lovely drop of the shoulder by Brunthaler. Oh, Hamburg have levelled the scores! Their first real chance of the game. And Brunthaler's little bit of brilliance in the box allows her to set up Svea Stolt for the equaliser. Nia Cenk was completely sold there by the drop of the shoulder. And in the end, it's a pretty simple finish for Stolt after wonderful work by Melanie Brunthaler. And out of nowhere, a bolt from the blue for the women in blue. And Hamburg strike level on the stroke of half-time. She said that Hamburg can surprise every team in the Frauen Bundesliga, Lies Brankau. They surprised Wolfsburg on match day 1. I'm not sure Essen would have been as surprised based on the warning they saw on the opening weekend, but now Freiburg 1-0 up. A little bit of a shock to the system. Courtesy of Svea Stolt. Her second of the season. The first was that free kick that secured the dramatic late 3-3 draw against Wolfsburg. An element of controversy about the goal in its first instance. And unfortunately, we don't have all the angles needed in the Frauen Bundesliga to always clear up those decisions. But the good news is that the Hamburg social media department found one that produced pretty conclusive evidence that the ball had fully crossed the line when Svea Stolt's free kick clipped off the post and was not clawed out in time by Stina Johannes. We don't have the use of goal line technology. Good old-fashioned controversy in the top flight of Germany's women's game. But what you couldn't doubt on match day 1 is that Hamburg were good value for a point against Wolfsburg. And right now this has been very hard fought. Freiburg have had more of the ball, but they haven't done much with it, and Hamburg have found the clinical touch that their season is going to be defined by. So can you really argue that they aren't good value for parity here, the Port City side? Freiburg can lament the missed chances because they had opportunities to stretch their lead. Now Stegemann goes high and long, straight into the gloves of Schult. Let's go Freiburg, fight and win is now the chant from the home crowd. Egert scrapping away but losing out. Four minutes of time added on at the end of the first half here at the Dreisamstadion. And as Friday night games go, this one took a while to warm up. Very evenly matched, with both sides cancelling each other out in the opening exchanges, but after Lisa Karl opened the scoring, it really brought the game to life. And with 45 minutes left to play after the restart, then we are very nicely poised at 1-1, but Freiburg might want to change that before the break. Birkholz! And still, rifled home by Tessa Blumenberg. The follow-up effort after Birkholz's shot was denied, and Blumenberg with a blockbuster that almost broke the net. Freiburg restore their narrow lead before half-time. A scrappy goal, but they won't care one bit. First of the season for Tessa Blumenberg. Thunderous effort from the 20-year-old. As if to underline the point, we went from having just 3 shots on goal shared between the two teams after half an hour to now having 3 goals scored before half-time. Admittedly, a turn of events I didn't see coming, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching. But very welcome, as Benkart does well to pluck that one out of the air. First time this season that Freiburg have scored more than a goal in a single game. It was a 1-1 draw in Bremen against Bremen. Arguably should have been a 1-0 win. A penalty given and a red card to Ingeborg Siadadottir. That should never have been a red card and should never have been a penalty. Of course, last Friday, it was Svenja Fumli scoring the only goal of the game in the 70th minute, as Merit-Felder goes into the book for a tactical foul on Brunthaler, who got wrong side. Smart foul, though, by Merit-Felder, you have to say. Brunthaler. Flick on to no one. Seconds remaining. Time added on. Hamburg hoping for one last chance. Trying to pinch to win possession. Brunthaler now can't turn the corner. Well, a thoroughly entertaining first half between Freiburg and Hamburg. It took a while to warm up, but once it did, a blistering encounter. Freiburg took the lead to their captain Lisa Kyle, pegged back by Svea Stolt before Tessa Blumenberg restored a narrow lead with a thunderous effort before half-time. As a result, it is Freiburg 2, Hamburg 1 at the break.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Dreisamstadion. The floodlights are on this Friday night now that the sun has set. And so far, 3 goals shared between these two sides. Freiburg with 2, Hamburg with 1. The newly promoted side once again showing that they are not to be underestimated. But unfortunately they have been twice pegged back here by the home side, who are looking to make it a Friday night double, having beaten Köln this time last week by 1-0. They come into this second half with a narrow 2-1 lead. Lisa Karl scored an eye-catching opener, her second of the season. Only 2 players in the Frauen Bundesliga have more goals to their name in the current campaign, that being Medina Desic of Werder Bremen after a hat-trick against Nürnberg last weekend, and of course Selina Cerci of Hoffenheim, who has started the season in red-hot form with 4 goals to her name in 2 games. Now, as has been a common part of Liège Brancau's approach to matches, she makes half-time changes. Lotte Vrede entering the fray, along with Annalene Böhler. Something that Liège Brancau has done in every match so far in the Frauen Bundesliga, making half-time changes, so she doesn't steer away from that approach here today. What has she spotted? What will she change to try and help get her side back in this game? James Thorogood, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company on this Friday night in Freiburg. Freiburg with a chance to go top of the table in Germany's top flight tonight with victory. Of course, it might be short-lived, given the fact that they are the first team to play on Matchday 3. Hoffenheim and Bayern, the only teams with perfect records through 2 match days. Bayern in action against Karlsruhe Jena on Saturday. Bremen take on Hoffenheim on home soil on Sunday. But for Freiburg, it would be a lovely snapshot moment for them to sit atop the pile, even if it is for a short period of time. Hamburg, though, will have other ideas, and Leni Egert's done really well here to get past her woman, and goes for goal herself when that might not have been the best option. Still, she wanted to reap the rewards of her own hard work. Did really well to drive to the byline there, the young 17-year-old. Lotte Vrede has come on at half-time for Hamburg, and Vrede and Egert have both certainly made a name for themselves in a short space of time in Germany's top flight. A lot of promising signs for Hamburg upon their return to Germany's top flight after a 13-year absence. That, of course, coincided with the whole club's crumbling reputation at one point. Unfortunately, the women's team were made to suffer. But as Marcel Janssen, the club's president, put it, it was time to make up for lost time. It was worth putting the project back in place. The 2 head coaches, Edmond Capellani will certainly be the happier. His side, with all the early control, took the lead through captain Lisa Karl, second of the season. And then they got pegged back by Hamburg, a bit of a bolt from the blue, but then that's Hamburg's game plan. That's what they're going to have to do all season. And then Freiburg bounced back, struck back. Tessa Blumenberg's first of the season, restoring the lead before the break. Gives them a foundation to build from in this second half.
no escaping the hard-fought nature of this game, though. Lisa Karl. Doesn't have the beating of Hirche there. And seeing Emilia Hirche on the pitch makes me realise that there was a triple change at half-time for Hamburg and not a double change. So just to go through it, Lotte Vrede has come on for Nina Reke. We've had Annelien Böhler come on for Jobina Lahr, and Emilia Hirche has come on for Hillebrand. So a bit of a shake-up here for Hamburg. Just trying to work out exactly how things are shaping up now. It looks like Christine Meyer is joining Brunthaler up front. I just wonder whether they've adopted a more attacking approach in this second half, because it does look like they've switched to a 4-woman back line. So Lies Brancau showing that she's not afraid to try and change things. Stegemann there caught by Brunthaler. Karl looking up for her options. Nice switch of the play there to find Nia Cenk, and it's opened up here for Freiburg, but Cenk's first touch really lets her down. She recovers well. Now finds an outlet pass for Lisa Kolb, who has a lot of space to work with here. The Austrian international looking for a teammate. It comes to a Ojukwu! And Freiburg's Austrian connection comes to the fore as they add an early goal at the start of the second half to extend their lead. And Freiburg, under the Friday night floodlights, are heading to the top of the Frauen Bundesliga. Well played by Ojukwu. Went for placement, knowing that the power would be generated by the pace on the ball anyway. And Schultz got a hand to it. But just like Lisa Karl's effort in the first half, it's not enough to keep it out. For the first time in her Freiburg career, Nicole Ojukwu hears the Freiburg fans chant her name, because it's the first of the season, but it's her first ever for the Black Forest club. Wonderful moments for the young 19-year-old. Off the mark. Egert! Oh! Well, thumbs up from Brunthaler, and rightly so. Benkart was taking no chances in making the save and tipping it over the bar. But a 3-1 down, why not chance your arm? It's a nice strike, it moved in the air as well. Just too central from Leni Egert. Corner's in! An immediate response from the visitors as they pull it back to a goal deficit. A magnificent start to this second half at the Dreisam Stadion. And it's game on again. Svea Stolz scored the first. She provides the delivery for the second. That is a magnificent header and a magnificent goal from Annalene Böhler. Off the bench during half-time, the 20-year-old keeps Hamburg in this game. And I was going to wait a little bit longer because I felt it was too early to say it, but the question was, could Freiburg do what Wolfsburg did on match day 1 and see out a 3-1 lead against Hamburg? And now, I mean, that question just got a lot more interesting once again, but not that they needed it, Freiburg, but a real warning here that they cannot sit comfortably. Benkart now looking to turn provider at the other end, and Blumenberg gave chase but couldn't get there. Of minutes between the two goals from Achukwu and Böhler. And yes, Hamburg have racked up 6 shots so far, but it does feel like both goals really came out of nothing. There was no real momentum on Hamburg's side to suggest that they were about to get on the score sheet, but this is what a newly promoted team like Hamburg have to do. You have to work without momentum. Here's Lotte Vrede. Lotte Vrede gets a shot. Oh, he's going to creep in, and Benkart keeps it out. That looked destined for the bottom corner from Lotte Vrede. A really cheeky effort. She had Benkart scrambling. Corner in again now. Ooh, not convincingly defended by the Freiburg backline. Julia Stehli in a bit of a mix-up with one of her teammates. Edmond Kaplani from pumping his fist on the sideline to once again having a bit of concern etched on his face. Talked about the nerves ahead of match day 1 and match day 2, said that he would still be tense ahead of tonight's game, and well, the way this game has played out, it hasn't exactly eased the tension, has it? No calming effects from the competitive game that we are being treated to here at the Dreisam Stadion. A game that feels like it's got plenty of time for a few more twists and turns. And a chance here for Hamburg as Meyer forcing Benkart into a more routine save. Thing for Freiburg now is you feel that they probably have to search for a fourth to try and once again move this game beyond Hamburg's reach. Leni Egert one-on-one with Cenk. Cross flicked on but away from danger. The race is on, and Birkholz gets there first. Once again, Freiburg looking to establish some control on the game despite a pretty wild match so far, as this time the speculative effort from Maria Mikolajova, one of the recruits in the summer from St. Pölten, the side that Lies Brankow, the head coach, joined from as well. Laura Ziege, the goalkeeper, Mikolajova with the shot, Brunnthaler and Hillebrand, the front two, all brought in from the Austrian champions. Now another corner from this side of the pitch. Oh, attacked well again by Brunnthaler, it was this time. Leni Egert, the chance is still alive here. They've got to be clinical now. Stolt, involved in both goals. Couldn't stand up Cenk. Maybe Vreda can. Tricky customer, the 17-year-old. Oh, lovely play. Mikolajova brought down. To take. Fist in, and they'll get a corner. Racking up the set piece situations now, and they've made one count already. Hamburg. They want to make another. 3-2 up Freiburg, looking the nervier of the two teams. Floated in this time and over the head of everyone in blue, black and white. Now we had a triple change at half-time for Hamburg. It's a triple change for Freiburg now. Selina Vorbian, Lila Egli and Matt Schneider, the three set to enter the fray. Three attacking talents as Birkholz comes off, still waiting for her first goal as a Freiburg player. But I'm sure it'll come eventually. Merit Felder has been strong but was on a booking, so a precautionary measure there as she's brought off, and Lisa Kolb is the third and final change. Hamburg with an alteration of their own. Victoria Schwalm coming on for what is her Hamburg debut. Signed from Turbine Potsdam in the summer. She comes on for the captain, Paulina Machtens. Lisa Karl feeding into Schneider. Had a Hamburg player shadowing her, and as a result, visitors have turned over possession. Meyer. Schwalm. Good delivery. No one on the end of it for Hamburg, though. But that being said, they are doing well to get bodies in the box and get the ball in the box with good quality service as well. All the pieces are there for Hamburg to get an equaliser here tonight. Question, perhaps, how many more chances will they get in front of goal with less than half an hour on the clock, and can they avoid maybe falling foul of the trap that Freiburg are setting, letting them generate some pressure and possession here, knowing that they can break in transition now with the fresh legs, and that was the chance. Unfortunately, the pass was poor. Transition attack was still on there, but eventually comes to nothing. We can add that challenge to the compilation we saw in the first half of the rough experiences that players were having in 50-50 tackles this evening. Lies Brandkau has talked about that being a significant feature of Hamburg's approach this season. They have to get stuck in. They have to make their presence felt, and they have to force teams with more quality to really battle to let that quality shine through. Here's Leila Egli. Two in the middle to aim for. Ojukwu bringing down Brunthaler and getting a booking for the foul as well. Melanie Brunthaler, I mean, yeah, clear trip there. I don't think Ojukwu intended it at all, but she took Brunthaler out in a very promising situation for Hamburg, so you can understand why the yellow card is shown there. Now Svea Stolt. Tell you, the way that the Hamburg players are lined up, it looks like Svea Stolt's going to go for goal here. Brunthaler joins the Freiburg wall. A lot to like about Melanie Brunthaler and what she's brought to this Hamburg side in such a short space of time. Battling qualities, constant source of chaos for opposition backlines. And she's won this free kick now. Svea Stolt to take. Stolt doesn't dip in time. Benkart saw it the whole way. Svea Stolt, just 19 years of age, approaching her 100th appearance for Hamburg as we have confirmation of the attendance tonight. Just under 2,000, so a little shy of the figures we saw last Friday for the visit of Köln. Truth be told, the fans last weekend didn't get much entertainment value, but they did see a very important first win of the season for Freiburg. Tonight, the fans in attendance have certainly got their money's worth a little bit more. But right now, this game a lot nervier at 3-2 than the 1-0 lead ever was against Köln. And the 1-0 lead hadn't even been produced by this point of the game. It came in the 70th minute from Sonja Firmli. Brunthaler again. The queen of niggly fouls, seemingly. Slide down there, though. Again, no complaints about the decision. Freiburg need to be careful, though. Stolz. Christine Meyer on the turn! Clean connection, but straight at Benkart. Lovely play, though, by Christine Meyer. Former Hamburg youth player. Left the club to join Jena. Said it's amazing that her career has come back full circle in joining Hamburg again from their northern rivals Werder Bremen, where she was on the books most recently. 53 appearances, 4 goals for Werder Bremen, but 12 goals in now 34 appearances for Hamburg. Now here is Egert. Spotted a little bit of space. Brunthaler tried to take charge. Won back well by Vrede. Just a flash in the pan when it comes to possession, though, for Hamburg. And Benkart taking no chances with the clearance. Hamburg really coming out of their shell now. 3-2 down, but having been 3-1 down, they are clearly willing to take the risk and chance their arm for a share of the spoils, just like they did against Wolfsburg. Egert, another good delivery. Falls nicely to Schwalm, but charged down quickly. And right now, Freiburg just have no outlet to release the pressure that the newly promoted Hamburg are producing. And again, I look at a performance like tonight, I look at their performances against Essen and Wolfsburg, and Hamburg are giving so much more to the Frauen Bundesliga than Turbine Potsdam did all of last season, and maybe even you could argue Karl-Zeiss Jena as well. But at least Jena hit double digits with 10 points to their name. Everyone thought that the expansion would be a really good thing for the Frauen Bundesliga. And in terms of the enrichment we've had with Hamburg, Nuremberg and Union Berlin, I don't think anyone's really arguing against it so far. But I mean, again, to put it into context, and I hold the thought because Hamburg coming through dangerously here, cross blocks. But to put it into context, last season, Turbine Potsdam, 22 games played, 1 draw, 21 losses, just 5 goals scored. Hamburg have scored 5 goals in the Frauen Bundesliga in 3 games. Karl-Zeiss Jena only got 7 goals to their name, but 2 wins and 4 draws took them to 10 points. Right now, Hamburg need 1 more goal for another draw to make it 3 from 3. Otherwise, they are going to suffer their first defeat. But again, even in defeat, there are so many more promising signs from the Port City side than there ever were for Turbine Potsdam. Aurélie Silag coming on for Sophie Nachtigall, who had a really good night, some bright moments with no real end product to show for it. Silag, her first piece of action is to chase down a lost cause. Long vertical pass, not convincingly dealt with. Freiburg get a reprieve from the referee's whistle. Lotte Freda using those lanky legs of hers to great effect. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how on earth Freiburg have come away with the ball there, because either it was a foul on Lotte Freda or the ball had stayed in play. Now the counter's on for Freiburg. Tessa Blumenberg still has legs. Late on in this game, scorer of Freiburg's second this evening. Battles back well there, Blumenberg. Ran out of options in the end when she was on the ball. That's the endeavour, though, you'll see from the Freiburg players. As now off the ball, it's Julia Stierli who stayed down. Maybe take a see what ails her in that challenge. Just a tangle of legs. Tessa Blumenberg, meanwhile, a bit of cramp. But given the work rate she's produced tonight, understandable. Edmond Kaplani senses a little bit of danger. Statement from him before the game about the fact that you never know what's going to happen over the course of 90 minutes. I'm not sure many would have predicted this game panning out the way it has. But a magnificent way to kick off Matchday 3. Freiburg with the chance to go top of the table with victory against newly promoted Hamburg, who have proved they should not be underestimated, and they've once again underlined that fact here today. A remarkable story regarding the Port City side and the A's Brown Cow start of this season. But Freiburg are the favourites in a game like this. They would have been expected to come away with at least a positive result, if not all 3 points. Christine Meyer had that chance to make it 3-3 on the turn, on the volley. Good snapshot, but she's replaced late on by Vildan Kardessler. For now, here's Silak. Cut back, blocked, and it stays in play, courtesy of the spin off the ball. Off of Emilia Hircher's back. Brankow loving the never say die attitude of her side here tonight. Talked about the fact that people in Hamburg live football a little bit differently, but she says she can relate to that coming from Brazil. All chance, and Silak was there at the near post. Big block. Stierli has picked herself up after the tangle of legs. Header really didn't go anywhere to safety, and Lotte Vrede now chipping on a defensive end. I'll tell you what, we're only seeing 45 minutes of Lotte Vrede per game, but you've got to enjoy the 45 minutes you see of her. Ball into the danger area again. They've got 2 bodies in the box, but it doesn't find either of them. And I make that point because as a newly promoted side, sometimes you can be a little bit scared to overcommit, but Hamburg are doing well to offer options in the attacking third. It's understandable that they don't quite have the attacking quality that some of their Frauen Bundesliga counterparts do. Vrede caught 50-50, Ajuku, fair challenge, says Fabienne Michel. I think it was the goal scorer, Annalene Burler, there with a pretty decisive bit of defending at her near post. Lovely play by Lisa Karl. She's a left back, but she doesn't play like it at times, does she? Whether it be the finishing we saw for the opening goal, the ability to handle pressure in tight situations and wriggle her way free, the cheeky skills she's packed out every now and again. And yet she doesn't shy away from the bread and butter defending that she has to do. Some risky play here from Karl as Vrede can't pounce. I'll tell you what, I shouldn't have been praising her. Commentator's curse. Just tried to do a little too much and almost got her side in a world of trouble. Lotte Vrede still trying to make something happen for Hamburg. That's a nice pass. Brunthaler has to turn. A twist to turn, a twist to turn. Now what's at the end of it? Where's the angle? Where's the pass? Where's the finish? There's none of it. She needs support now. Stegemann for company. That's a nice clip in. Oh, shot on the turn from Schwalm. Second chance opportunity. Dungers does well with the header. Freda. Look at Freiburg, they've completely collapsed the lines now. They know that Hamburg are looming large and dangerous, but they can't afford to drop too deep and invite too much pressure, because they might just get punished. Egert. That's a good ball, but too long. They are going to give as good as they've got, Hamburg, though, make no doubt about that. Elena Bienz coming on for Freiburg. We've got just under 10 minutes of normal time remaining. Freiburg aiming to make it a Friday night double here at the Dreisamstadion after a 1-0 win against Köln last Friday. They're 3-2 up here. Hamburg will be desperately looking to avoid what would be their first defeat upon their return to the Frauen Bundesliga after a 13-year absence. It was always going to come at some point, but they haven't given up hope yet. Tessa Blumenberg, hats off to her for leaving it all out there. Back in the starting lineup tonight with the match winner from last weekend, Svenja Fumli, out with an ankle injury. Vorbian. Bienz, her first touch. Helps release the pressure for Freiburg. Silag points to where she wants it. Schultz hasn't got there, and Silag might just have killed off the game for Freiburg under the Friday night floodlights. Her first goal in the Black Forest for the woman signed from Basel. A clinical finish. Inga Schultz caught in no woman's land. And that really should put the game beyond Hamburg's reach at last for Freiburg. "19 goals in 58 games for Basel, 6 last season, scored by Aurélie Silag. She's off the mark now, the Swiss international. She gets her first, she opens her account here on home soil at the Dreisamstadion. There can be no better feeling as a Freiburg striker. Maybe now he can just breathe a little bit easier. She wants a smile on his face. It's close, it's close. It's not quite there yet, maybe at full time. But again, you look at these performances from Freiburg, really promising stuff under their new head coach, Edmond Kaplani. Bring in a new man on the hot seat, an unproven head coach like Kaplani, and it can go a little wrong with teams like Freiburg, but their stability, their consistency is remarkable. And that's on and off the pitch as well. Oh, Vorbian has straight offside. Silag chasing it down again. She wins the foot race. Silag! Oh, it's a quick fire double for the Swiss international to put the icing on the cake of a wonderful game in Freiburg this evening. Now they can breathe easy against the newly promoted side, who in pushing for an equaliser at 3-3 have left themselves exposed at the back. And Silag, the fresh legs off the bench for the home side, has made the most of it. 2 goals in a matter of minutes to open her account in the Dreisamstadion. wanted it more. She had the pace to burn up against Jacqueline Dungers, who was a little too casual. She suffers the consequences, and now the smile on the face of Kaplani. 5 goals is what it takes for the Albanian to crack a smile. And now Lies Bankau is tough, because her side's certainly undeserving of a 5-2 scoreline. It really does not tell the full tale of the game. But they ran the risk, Hamburg. They changed their game plan. At 3-2, they decided we're going to go for the equaliser. We've got nothing to lose. Eager. Oh, she's been so lively down this left wing. Stopped in her tracks at the last, though. There's no doubting Freiburg good value for the win, but the scoreline does feel a touch harsh on Hamburg. But these are the rough lessons that sometimes you're going to learn at the highest level. Still plenty of positives to point to. Leni Egert, Lotte Vrede, the two 17-year-olds are 2 of them. The work done by Meneli Brunthala up front, exceptional tonight. The goals scored, Svea Stolt involved in both of them, scored the first, set up the second. There really is a lot to like about this Hamburg team. And it is great to have them back in the Frauen Bundesliga. This is the second of a run of 4 games on foreign soil for Hamburg. Started with the 0-0 draw against Essen. It continues on Matchday 4 in midweek against Bayern in Munich. And then we've got the DFB Pokal first round. Freiburg pitted against Hannover 96 on foreign soil. Excuse me, you know what? I'm reading the fixtures all wrong. I'm reading Freiburg's fixtures. Let me get that right, because it's Freiburg who travelled to Munich in midweek before going to the capital to take on Union Berlin. They are the team that face Hannover 96 in the DFB Pokal der Frauen. For Hamburg, we'll see their fixtures flashed up in just a second. But they've got a DFB Pokal first round tie in Magdeburg. It comes after the game in Leipzig. And then they're finally back in the Volkspark Stadion. Matchday 5 for the visit of Hoffenheim. Magnificent turnout on Matchday 1 for that 3-0 draw against Wolfsburg. And the Volkspark Stadion and the attendances it might command really will be an enrichment to the Frauen Bundesliga. Remember the name, Lotte Vrede. She talked about not being able to wait to test herself at the Frauen Bundesliga level. And even despite her tender years and lanky frame, you can already see she's certainly got what it takes to acquit herself at the highest level. It was Hamburg sporting director on the women's side, Saskia Breuer, who described her as an exceptional talent. Difficulty for Hamburg might be holding on to her services at the end of this season if she continues to excel, as she has so far. Gonna have a few minutes of time added on, simply by virtue of the goals we've seen scored in this second half. 4 in total. To add to the 3 we got before the break, and a high-scoring encounter by comparison to last Friday when it was a 1-0 win for Freiburg here at the Dreisamstadion. We have certainly got value in the goal-scoring department this evening, and as a result, Freiburg are set to go top of the Frauen Bundesliga tonight at least. Bayern tomorrow can reclaim the summit. Hoffenheim can join them on Sunday. Those are the 2 teams that so far have a perfect record in Germany's top flight. But Freiburg right now one of 6 teams still unbeaten this season, and Hamburg on course right now to suffer their first defeat. 5 minutes of time added on. Can we maybe talk about a 5-star performance from Freiburg, or is that just too cliche at 5-2 up? Lisa Karl winning the ball back, finding Egli. She can drive into space. We've got Vorbian completely unmarked in the box. Stopped in the tracks by the assistant on the far side. Just to go back to the goalkeeping debate in Hamburg, Laura Ziege with the 3rd cruciate ligament tear of her career last time out against Essen. And Inga Schultz has had some nice moments today, but you can see she doesn't quite have the same level of quality that Laura Ziege does. And I know Ziege conceded 3 times against Wolfsburg on Matchday 1, but I'm not sure she can really, other than one terrible mistake in an awful pass out from the back. She acquitted herself well. Right now, Silag on for a hat-trick. Unselfish! Saved at the first, but turned home at the second. Lele Egli gets a 6th for Freiburg in injury time. Her first of the season. And they are really enjoying themselves now at the Dreisamstadion. Freiburg heading to the top of the Frauen Bundesliga table on Friday night under the floodlights. It gets harsher on Hamburg, but Schultz did not do enough with the initial effort to turn it away from danger. And Lele Egli, right place, right time, poacher's finish. She only scored once all of last season. She's off the mark in her first appearance of the new campaign. And the Swiss strikers, whether it be Egli or Silag, have really stolen the show in the second half here. They are enjoying themselves, and they have every right to. What a bar being set in the opening game of Matchday 3. An 8-goal thriller. Convincing. It now looks for Freiburg, but truth be told, it's been anything but. But Hamburg learned the lesson. You can be really good for 70, 75 minutes in the Frauen Bundesliga. You need to be great for 90 to really survive. Freiburg have learned those lessons over their time in the top flight. They are now established. And they are putting Hamburg in their place a little bit tonight. A reality check for the Port City side after their 3-3 draw against Wolfsburg, the euphoria generated by the last gasp equaliser at the Volksparkstadion, then the 0-0 draw with Essen, a very tidy positive result. And now, yes, first defeat of the season, but as mentioned, it was always going to come at some point. It's now more about how do Liège, Brancau and co deal with this setback? How do they bounce back next time out against Leipzig? Another away game, but Leipzig, the type of team that they would fancy trying to take points off of this season. As for Freiburg, after finishing 5th last season, the way they've started the current campaign, you might wonder whether they can be a bit of a surprise package in the top half of the table. Wouldn't be the first time.
Nice ball out wide. You can tell Hamburg not quite as full of running as they were early in this game. And it breaks for Vorbian!
Short stands strong at the last to prevent Freiburg hitting seventh heaven. This will be the last action of an action-packed evening in the Black Forest.
Corner comes in. Final whistle goes. A fantastic night at the Dreisamstadion sees Freiburg score a sensational 6 to send themselves top of the Frauen Bundesliga under the Friday night floodlights. A real statement of intent for the side from Breisgau. Edmond Kaplan remains unbeaten on the Freiburg hot seat. And while this scoreline looks convincing, at times it certainly wasn't. Hamburg will feel that it's a harsh result on them at the end of the day as they suffer their first top-flight defeat in 13 years. The final score, Freiburg 6, Hamburg 2. Well, the Dreisamstadion certainly got their money's worth this evening. 8 goals scored in total. What a way to kick off the start of what is 7 straight days of Frauen Bundesliga action, because we've got the Englische Woche coming up during midweek, the English week, a set of midweek fixtures to keep the feast of football going. But this was a wonderful way to kick things off. Very competitive match for 70 to 75 minutes. But when Hamburg's legs got tired, Freiburg found another gear, and it allowed them to complete what was a pretty convincing 6-2 win in the end. It does send them top of the table, 7 points from their opening 3 match days of the season. Bayern and Hoffenheim, of course, can move back above them with victory at home to Kaisers Jena tomorrow. But Freiburg will enjoy the snapshot moment of this evening. Sat in first place. An unbeaten start made under Edmond Kaplani, their new head coach. And not just an unbeaten start, but so many aspects to enjoy about their performances. The goals being scored tonight, the gritty nature of the battling qualities they had to produce to rise above the challenge that Liège Brancau and co-produced for them. Hamburg can still be mightily pleased with what they produced through 3 match days upon their return to the Frauen Bundesliga after a 13-year absence. But tonight, they were put in their place. They were brought crashing down to earth somewhat, and while the scoreline is harsh on Hamburg, it was a thoroughly deserved victory for Freiburg. James Thurrogood, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company as we opened the action on match day 3. The final score at the Dreisamstadion is Freiburg 6, Hamburg 2.